Welcome back, everybody. I know, I told you guys my next video was going to be the fundamentals of firearms, and I promise you I'm still working on it. We're getting it. My little tax deductions back in town, I went and picked her up from Houston, and she thinks she's Quentin Tarantino, so she wants everything just right. But neither here nor there. I was invited out to the range to test some SIGs. So full disclosure, the individual that invited me, his name is Randy Bergren, a good friend of mine. We've worked together for many years, and now he's in the private sector. So he sells SIGs. So we took this opportunity to go out to the range and kind of, throw some lead. I do own a SIG. I only owned one. I own a SIG 230 and 380. Really don't know much more than what I know about my 380. I wanted to take that moment to learn about what the SIG family consists of as far as military and law enforcement. SIG got the contract for the military, specifically the Army and the Marines, and now they're sole provider of the handguns, which is going to be the M17 and the M18, respectively. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Again, full disclosure, we only did one morning of testing, so we're calling this a one mag evaluation. What I liked about the SIG is, as an armorer, as a law enforcement professional, as an instructor, I can have one weapon system, either the 320 compact or the 320 carry or the 320 full size, and I can change the grip out from, just take the inner guts out, drop them in. I can change calibers and I can change grips. And if I've got a female shooter who's got small hands, like I have small meat skinners, you can change it out. And then when that person no longer works for the department or moves on to bigger and better things, I can take that weapon and put it back in inventory, and I don't have to worry about having two different guns, like a 17 for some guys and 19 for some other individuals. I can run one platform. All I gotta do is keep a couple extra receivers where I can drop that serial numbered part in there, and then I'm good. And they're inexpensive. The actual receivers that you switch out, you're talking about $40. So I can go from a medium to a small for $40. And then if I go to sell the gun, then I can drop the actual guts back in the medium, and it goes, and I keep my small and whatever. If I want to change calibers, can. Because the serial numbered portion of that weapon is the lower receiver, and it's an internal compartment. It has nothing to do with that the outer plastic polymer part. My general observations of the weapon: how did it feel in my hand? What did I thought about the actual device? And how did it shoot? And how did it handle? And that kind of stuff. So the military adopted a version of the 320, and they now call the M17 and the M18 respectively. The Army has a full-size weapon, and the Marines opted to go with the carry version, which is a shorter barrel but the same length grip. So my initial thoughts on the 320, the full-size version, the one that the Army adopted, is it was excellent craftsmanship. It appeared that it was a very substantial weapon. I didn't see anything that caused me to think that it was garbage, right? It is a reputable company, and I thought for the most part that it was a very well-built gun. Some of the stats on it, it is the full size has a 4.7 inch barrel, and it comes with a 17 round magazine. I looked at the sights. I was very impressed with the SIG sights on it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the shooting portion. So on the 320, the military version is called the M17, the full size. My initial thoughts upon picking the gun up was I liked the angle of the grip. I liked the way it felt in my hand for the most part. I liked it didn't have any sharp edges. Upon working the slide, it was tight, but not too tight. I liked the sight radius. I liked the front sight contrast with the rear sight. And for the most part, I was very pleased with the craftsmanship, general craftsmanship of the weapon. I looked at them both. I compared both of them side by side, the M17 and the M18, the law enforcement versions, which do not have safeties. And I was really pleased. Then we decided to load up some magazines and go down range and kind of evaluate that, that one mag evaluation. While conducting that one mag evaluation, started off slow. Point of aim and point of impact is where I expected it to be, comparable with my Glock 19 or my Glock 17. No real issues. The weapon cycled well. I had no malfunctions. We moved on and did a couple of mag changes, and everything went well. What I noticed initially on the trigger is that it was a crisp trigger, not a lot of slush, not a lot of take up, and the reset was very textile, so I could feel it. I didn't have to listen for it as I was letting up my trigger on my trigger finger to reset it. It was very noticeable. Even when I started picking up the pace, I didn't find myself having to kind of find that reset. It was there, it was consistent. The accuracy was repeatable. So if I aimed at a certain location at 7 and at 25, they were pretty much the same. So it's not a big difference. But what I did notice is that as I started shooting and as I was shooting faster and I was picking up my tempo, that the weapon had a tendency to kind of shift in my hand. That was easily fixed. We initially got the weapon with the medium grips on it. We swapped out the guts and put the small grips on it, and I got a chance to hold the small. And and I don't have big meat skinners. And I got to tell you, it's for the most part, it felt really good in my hand. Once I put that small grip in there, it allowed me to get a better purchase. I didn't feel like I was kind of having to muscle the gun as much. It allowed me to get a good purchase on the firearm and have repeatable second, third, fourth shots and controllable recoil. The mag release, I was extremely impressed with. On the Glock 19s and the Glock 17s, I have a tendency to need to turn the weapon in my hand to be able to articulate the mag release, even with an extended mag release. I didn't find that I had to do that with this particular weapon. Just reaching over, I was able to kind of engage the mag release, and the mag came out with no issues, and I was able to do a mag change without breaking my grip. And for me, that's a big thing, and I really like that aspect of changing the grips and changing where they place that mag release in relationship to the front of the weapon, the front of the grip. It appeared that it was a little further back than what I'm used to, and it worked well with my thumb and not having to break my grip. All right, so the P320, the carry version, is the one that was adopted by the Marines. The only real difference is again, the civilian version does not have an external safety, and the military one does. It has a 3.9 barrel, and it either comes with 17 round mags or 21 round mags, depending on how you purchase it. Again, just like with the full size, it had a smooth trigger, very textile reset, very happy with it overall. I didn't get a chance to change the grip on it from the medium to the small, but I liked it so much that it is definitely on my must-buy list. I'm on the fence about whether to buy the actual M18 version or if I'm going to buy the civilian the law enforcement version, which is the P320. I like it. I really like to do a long-term evaluation on both of those guns. I'm trying to work out something now with a friend of mine who has one of each, and hopefully I can do a long-term evaluation and kind of update this video with what it is after 500 rounds, 1,000 rounds, 2,000 rounds, and so on. So the other handgun that we also got a chance to shoot was the 365, the P365. It is the micro compact. It has a 3.1 inch barrel, and it is a double stack 10+1 magazine. Now, I shot it for 2 or 3 rounds, and I brought my tax deduction along, and she got a chance to shoot it. And she's not a very stout 15-year-old. She maybe in the neighborhood of 85, 90 pounds. And she was able to manage it with no issues. Now, she is a shooter. She does shoot my 19, she does shoot my 17, and she doesn't have any issues. But this was something new to her. Micro compact or compact handgun was something that she's never really tried. She said that she had no issues with it. She liked the sight radius. For such a small gun, it has a big sight radius. It has almost 5 inches from front sight to rear sight. That's substantial for such a small gun. But overall, she said that she really liked it and she wants one. All right. The other thing is that it's after I kind of tucked it into my waistband in a inside the carry holster. I think that's probably something that most individuals could use as an EDC gun. If you don't want to carry a full size, if you don't want to carry something, like a Glock 19 or the carry gun from SIG, the 320, this would be an excellent alternative. It gives you 10+1 rounds. It's small enough. It's accurate. I didn't have any issues. Just like with the trigger from the previous 2 guns that I tested, they were right on par. Really didn't have any issues overall. Alexis liked it. She didn't seem to struggle with it. So I think that it's a definite, I want to investigate a little bit more, and she says that that's something that she wants me to purchase for her to carry when she grows up. We'll see. We got a chance to shoot some rifles also. So Randy gave me the SIG 400. It is their patrol rifle. It's a 16-inch carbine, gas impingement, and initially it has the Romeo 4T on it. Don't know much about the optics. I got to tell you, I'm an aim point. I'm an aim point guy, so I really don't know much about the optics. It appeared that they were nice. They would appear to be well built, but again, it would have to stand the test of time. I'm sorry, I like aim points. Initial feelings about my initial thoughts were it appeared a little heavy. As working the action, the bolt carrier group, and it appeared like it was a little sluggish. We actually added lube to it because we thought it was that sluggish. It was a little dry. Even then, the bolt carrier group didn't seem to move easily back and forth. But I'm chalking that up to as being a newer gun. Didn't have a lot of rounds on it, and as it breaks in, I'm sure it'll be fine. The trigger was crisp. Comparable to a Geisley. I've got Geisley triggers on a couple of my guns, and I got to tell you, I really enjoyed the trigger. So much that I actually stopped shooting, turned over to Randy, and I was like, what kind of trigger is in this? And so it's just a basic SIG trigger that they build it themselves. I liked the selector switch. I liked that the weapon had ambidextrous mag release and bolt catch. That was a big plus for me, especially on a duty gun. When you're issuing it to different officers or, that kind of thing, when you have to maintain a lot of guns in the armory, have ambidextrous bolt catch and mag releases are big deals for me. It ate everything we threw at it. I mean, we had different types of ammo out there, and it didn't skip a beat. It ate everything we gave it and staggered it, whatever else. It was a very, very good functioning gun. It shot extremely flat. I shot it, didn't feel like I had much recoil. I allowed another instructor friend of mine to shoot it. He shot it. It shot just as flat. In fact, I will tell you that one of the cons is that I thought it was a little heavy. Don't know why. It's a free float rail, maglock or M-lock. But I don't know why, but it felt heavier for me. And again, we talked about that bolt carrier group being stiff, and maybe I'm spoiled. I've built a couple of guns, and I'm currently running a Sons of Liberty gun on duty, and maybe I'm spoiled. Maybe Sons of Liberty guns have made me a little girl, but their guns are slick. The SIG appeared to be a little gritty in the action, but other than that, good running trigger. The weight of the gun was a little heavy. I don't know what that's attributed to be honest with you. But overall, a good, solid patrol rifle. We also got a chance to shoot the 7.16 G2. And my first impressions of it was, wow. I've handled many 308, 7.62 platform rifles. Everything from Knight's Armament to POF, and this looked like a designated marksman rifle. It looked very robust. It looked like you can beat this thing up. It was a little on the heavy side. It was set up with a Tango 4 44 millimeter objective optic, 4x16. A little on the heavy side, but again, robust, like it could take a beating. Shot it. I really enjoyed shooting it as 308. I didn't, from a standing position, didn't feel at all like I was swaying. I was able to lock in, get on the trigger, press that trigger, and get good, accurate, repeatable shots. We didn't shoot it for accuracy. So we were on a limited range. We didn't have a lot of distance. So basically we were looking at functionality. We didn't test it for accuracy. But overall, it had minimal muzzle rise. It was very controllable. It was fun to shoot. You know, you get used to shooting 5.56 with the very limited recoil. You get behind a 308 and you expect it to have a little bit more recoil. This had had recoil, but it wasn't, oh my God, type recoil. But overall, I'm a big fan of it. I don't know if I personally would add this to my armory, but definitely if I got a chance to purchase one at a decent price, I would pick it up. So we also got a chance to shoot the MCX, and it was calibered in 300 blackout. It was suppressed. It was running the SRD 7.62 suppressor. My initial thoughts of looking at it was, yeah, gotta get one. I looked at it, everything about it. I've been toying with the idea of getting a 300 blackout, something that was suppressed anyway, kicking it around, looked at it, and I was really impressed. Just in the fact that it had ambidextrous controls, it had everything that I really needed. I love the fact that it was suppressed. It had minimal blowback. Getting behind the gun and shooting it, it had minimal blowback. Now, it's a piston-driven gun. It's not a direct impingement. So I was kind of expecting to get that blowback and got very, very, very little. Enjoyed shooting it overall. I did not like the grip. I don't know what was up with it. I just didn't care for it. Now, on this particular gun, we didn't have an optic. We were running iron sights on it, and I found myself struggling to get a good cheek weld. For whatever reason, I didn't like the stock. It had a folding stock instead of a collapsible stock. Maybe because I'm so used to kind of presenting with my regular short barrel rifle or my AR platform, where I can get a good cheek weld right off the bat. It was set up different. I felt myself having to kind of dig into it to get behind the sights. Didn't care for the stock, didn't care for the grip. The gun shot well. So the last gun we had to shoot was the MCX Rattler. And it's a personal defense weapon, chambered in 300 blackout. I was excited to shoot this thing. This is one of those weapons that I was definitely looking at getting. I was hoping to get it in a different caliber, but they only make it in a 300 blackout specifically. It had a 5-inch barrel. It was not suppressed. I wanted to like the Rattler. I really did. It serves a niche. It's a personal defense weapon. So it's a close quarter weapon. It's a in the car gun. It's not going to be a patrol rifle type weapon. It's for dignitary protection, that kind of stuff. And you could kind of tell. It's not at all geared for an individual wearing body armor. It's got a folding stock. It was terrible getting a cheek weld. And I got to tell you, I absolutely hate the grip. I don't know what it is that they did to that grip or how they changed it from the M400, but yeah, I hated that grip. Overall, it ran fine. We had the same issue that we had with the other MCX, where we had to kind of crank up the pressure on it, and once we did that, we were fine. But yeah, I'm not so excited about the Rattler anymore. If maybe they come out with the Rattler version that's in 5.56, maybe if they change it up a little bit, I'm not sure. Maybe if they get rid of the stock and go with a different variation, maybe something's got a little higher rise to it, maybe. But overall, I fell out of love with it. I thought I was going to like it. I really wanted to like it. I actually compared it to a Zenith 9mm gun that was out on the range, and I actually enjoyed that one, shooting that one more than I enjoyed shooting a Rattler, and it was suppressed. And I actually enjoyed shooting the Zenith as opposed to the Rattler. But neither here nor there. I'm sure it's nothing that couldn't be fixed. You change the grip out, you can change the folding stock to, a brace or whatever it is that you need to do, and I'm sure you'll be fine. But all in all, I didn't care for it personally. I think there are better options out there. One of the other things was reliability. I had 0 hiccups. Now, granted, I only ran 1 or 2, maybe 3 magazines through all of the weapons, but no hiccups. Nothing even mildly close to a hiccup. Mag changes were flawless, didn't have any issues. I even tried shooting with a weak wrist to see if I can replicate or if I could produce a malfunction, at what degree. Didn't have any real success generating a malfunction. Everything worked well. It felt good in my hands, with the exception of, like I said, when I started picking up the tempo a little bit, it started moving around in my hand. But other than that, for a stock gun right out of the box, it was extremely accurate and extremely reliable. Again, I'm hoping to get a long-term test going. I plan on purchasing one here in the near future. I liked it that much. Probably buy the carry version. I'm not quite sure if I'll purchase the M18 or the 320 police version, but I really like that gun. The full size, not so much. I mean, I've got 19s and 34s and 21s. I probably won't buy a full size. I'll probably buy something that's, able to be carried. When I was talking to Randy, he also mentioned that they're coming out with a package that's going to have some sort of optic on it. That's going to be released here either soon, or maybe it's already released. He didn't have much information on that. As a package, sort of like the Glock MOS family, where it's optic ready. The Sega's actually going to sell it with an optic on it. So you'll have their choice. You either buy it with the optic or without the optic. So that's something that I'll be looking at, maybe purchasing it with an optic. But for the most part, I really enjoyed it. I want to make sure I thank Barney's Police Supply. They took time out of their day to allow Randy to come out and show us the wares. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time catching up with old friends, and I got to tell you, I had fun. I hadn't had that kind of fun on the range in a long time. All right, like always, make sure you keep your eyes on the front sight and press the trigger.